Coming up on BYU basketball with Mark Pope, the Cougs open conference competition with a 2-win week. Now it's a 2-game gauntlet, starting with a game at Gonzaga. We'll look ahead to an important week of hoops with the head coach and Seneca Knight next.
This is BYU basketball with Mark Pope, presented by Siegfried and Jensen. And now your host, the voice of the Cougars, Greg Wrubell.
All right, so welcome back inside Studio C at the BYU Broadcasting Building in Provo for another weekly edition of BYU Basketball with Mark Pope. Always nice to have some fans joining us in studio. Fans, are you joining us in studio? Yes. And we welcome our viewers tuning in live or on demand on the BYUtv app. And for those watching at home during the week, we ask you to get your questions in for Mark Pope using the social media hashtag Pope Show to join the conversation. Q&A coming up later in the program. On the rest of tonight's broadcast, we will recap last week's pair of victories, including a big weekend win over St. Mary's at the Marriott Center. Deep Blue is back and lets us get to know Trey Stewart a little better. Seneca Knight will indeed join us in studio. We'll go inside the film room with Trevin Nell and look ahead to the Gonzaga-San Francisco road swing along with those Q&A questions coming up later in the program as well. All right, let's get the show underway. We say hello to the third-year head coach of the Cougars, the pride of Newport High School. He's Mark Pope. Coach Pope.
All right. How we doing, guys? Welcome. What's up, player? How are you?
Good. First thing, matching sweats this
Yes.
week. Yeah.
Last time I had on like gray and navy and royal, and it was awful. So I was like, I'm going head to toe royal. I got 3 layers of royal with a little soft hoodie and I got royal pants, royal shoes,
Royal kicks.
royal. My key to fashion is just wear all the same color.
Kalani's key is to wear every possible BYU blue that exists at the same
Altogether.
time. Yeah, at the same time.
You know, if you take it full tilt all the way one direction, you're good.
Yeah, I agree with you. No, you can't go wrong with that. By the way, it's another day in first place for the BYU Cougars.
Man, I tell you what, being in first place is so fantastic, isn't it? We try and say that as many times around the staff and the team and the office as we can every single day because it hasn't happened very much, so we're so hyped to be there.
2-0 BYU after last week. And another thing.
What place are we in now?
You're in first place.
First
place.
Yeah.
Yep, top of the WCC. By the way, it's kind of funny. So Joe Lunardi.
What place is BYU in the WCC? First place.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Check back with them later in the show and see if that's still the case.
Little victories, guys.
Yeah.
You got to take the little victories.
So Lunardi does bracketology twice a week, right? And he automatically gives the AQ spot to whoever the league leader is. We've had AQ next to our name for a few days, so we'll take that too.
It's been a long time.
BYU, a top 10 team in attendance right now. Let's maybe just pause a minute and realize that BYU is one of the best places to watch college basketball right now with, I think, 9th in average per game attendance right now nationally.
Yep, it is. I mean, every time I walk in that gym, I said this post game, I've actually started forcing myself to just promise. I told the staff before the game, St. Mary's, I'm like, guys, we're totally locked in this game, but just take a second and look around because most college players and most college coaches never get to walk into a building like the Marriott Center, and it makes it so special. It's awesome. It's great.
So up these stairs to my right, you go through a couple doors, you get into my office, and in my office, on my wall, is a framed, blown-up photograph taken on the night BYU beat Gonzaga in your first season here. Yeah. You wrote a really nice inscription on it. Yeah. I remember the day that Matt Harms and Evan Troy delivered it to me at my office. That hangs, and I was actually took a few minutes just today to sit and take that one in again and look around and look at faces and just to remember how special that place can be for games like that and others.
Yeah, it's really great. I mean, I think it's fun for all of us, right? We just get to walk in that building and all be together and win some games, you know, get angry and yell and scream. And it's a release, isn't it? It's so fantastic.
I really do enjoy what the social media team puts together from BYU after wins because they take us places we usually can't go, whether it's just into the player huddle on the sideline or into the locker room. I think that's a great way to bring the fan base into what you get to experience. I really do appreciate that.
Yep, it is awesome. I wish we could all get in the locker room together after the games, but it's not quite big. We're working on some renovations where we'll invite everybody in there, but we haven't quite made it yet.
All right, let's look back at last week. It was a 2-game week. Pacific and St. Mary's. BYU welcomed the Tigers to Provo first up. New head coach Leonard Perry, a holdover from Damon Stoudemire's staff. BYU was playing coach on this night for a 7th straight win over the Tigers. Games against these guys can be a grind, and it kind of was in the first half.
Yeah, it was nip and tuck the whole way until the last 7 seconds of the half. And Alex Barcelo and Spencer Johnson made 2 back-to-back unbelievable plays to finish the half and kind of gave us some momentum, carried us through the rest of the game.
BYU had a 4-point lead at the break, and again, they were down 1 until the closing seconds of the first half. That little flurry puts you up 4, then you kind of carried over from there. Nice win. Yeah,
the Pacific team hasn't had a ton of success yet, but they are playing so hard, and they're long and athletic and skilled. They're not super deep, but they're a good team. They're going to win some games in the league.
So Pacific and BYU ended up being a 22-point game. Another good 3-point night for BYU, 12 of 25. And that's who you've been able to be on certain nights this year. Everyone kind of gets it going.
Yeah, we have a bunch of guys that make shots, especially when we're earning shots for each other. And we've been shooting it well the last, on average, we've been shooting it really well. Not so much St. Mary's, but we've shot it well for the last month or so.
Nice assist night for BYU. 5 players in double figures, including these 2 guys. You're undefeated when you can get 5 players into double figures, as you did against Pacific. We highlight 2 of them there, and Alex Barcelo and Foose.
Yep, Foose did his normal work down low, was great on the glass with 11, scored inside, and hit a 17-foot jumper, which he was super excited about.
That was pretty cool.
He's like, Coach, you got to get me more of those. Let's go.
Double-double for Foose and Alex Barcelo. We'll see some video of Alex. He ends up 4 of 7 from deep. Another multiple 3-point night for Barcelo, one of the country's best 3-point shooters, and for years now, one of the best 3-point shooters in the country. He was a plus 24 on the night, and you never want to take for granted what he gives you because it comes so effortlessly, it seems at times.
And so consistently. That's what's incredible. You have a lot of guys that'll have 1 great year shooting the ball, but Alex is working on 2.5 straight years of flawless shooting from beyond the arc and around the rim, and he just is. It's hard not to take him for granted because it's just there every single night.
The 1,000-point club is still pretty exclusive. 52 members of it now in the history of this program, and he becomes the 52nd, and he got there in style right before halftime on Thursday night.
Yep, he sure did. And a big-time play, a lot of frustration on the court, and they kind of went from a zone switching to a man, called a timeout, and you just think, like, for all of us wannabe basketball players, you get to watch him like, man, it must feel incredible to be able to control the game and control the ball like he does.
So he got to 1,001 on that 3-pointer, and he again becomes the latest 1,000-point member of the 1,000-point club at BYU. Back to Foose for a second. Second career double-double, and second in, I think, 3 starts at that point. He had one against Liberty in his first start and had a 12-11 night against Pacific. Between his free throws and his field goals, the ball left his hand 9 times, and 8 times it went through the hoop.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. He's been so fantastic.
You put him in the starting lineup at a certain time in this season. You waited a certain amount of time until you felt like maybe it was the right time for him, and it's been rewarded.
It's hard with young guys, especially young bigs in our program, because there's so much responsibility for them to make decisions. They're just decision makers on the floor for us, and so Foose and Atiki are both clearly great talents, but you kind of want to protect them from too much too early where they get really down on themselves and feel like they too much disappointment and they can't do it. You almost want to protect them and kind of just buy them some time here as they grow at the normal rate. We haven't had that luxury with these 2 guys, and they're both ringing the bell. They answer the bell. They've both been terrific.
And, Foose doesn't have to have a double-double every night. It's not going to happen that way. And Atiki may not be a double-double guy even this season, but when he has, had trust placed in him like you did against St. Mary's, Atiki was tremendous. Played the most minutes, I think, against any Division I opponent he's had this year.
Yep, that's right. And they're both doing special things. So it was really great. I mean, we take little steps in this game, and so I didn't play Atiki at all in the Pacific game. It was tough matchups. They're 4 and 5, really shoot the ball for the most part, and so it's a more complicated defensive assignment until the last 2 minutes and 45 seconds of the game, when the game was a little bit out of reach, and he was perfect. Like, he was perfect. His energy was perfect. His defensive assignments were perfect. He was taking care of the ball for the most part. And that just carried over in the St. Mary's game where we knew he was going to have to step up and play big minutes, and he was fantastic.
Let's get to the St. Mary's game. Saturday, BYU was playing for the weekend sweep. Cougs looking for a third straight win over the Gales and a fourth straight win over Randy Bennett at the Marriott Center. It was 13-win BYU hosting the 12-win Gales. You know what you're going to get when the Gales come to town, Coach.
For all you guys who were with us at this game, you may have had it confused with a soccer game to start. That was about to score 12 minutes in. But it was two teams that are two top 20 defenses in the country going head-to-head. It was a little bit like the first half of Alabama-Georgia last night, right?
9-6.
And in fact, it was the score.
9-7.
That was the score 12 minutes into the basketball game. And it was actually wonderful. It was super fun. So I know that BYU faithful do this a lot after a big win. Everyone leaves, and then a lot of people actually, if you didn't know this, go home and they'll re-watch the game. I can't tell you how many people have talked to me about going home after the game and re-watching the game. So when I got home that night late after the game, Leanne and I also re-watched the game, and it was, I'm telling you, it was as impressive a defensive effort as I've seen a team put together in terms of guys' effort, their intensity, their decision-making IQ and reads and fulfilling assignments on the defensive end. It was really, really spectacular. With a few exceptions, we went through a 5-6 minute spell where we had a tough time rebounding the ball, but otherwise, it was an epic performance by our guys, and we needed it because we weren't great on the offensive side.
You were down 7-0 at the first media. I think they had a shot to put you down 10-0. It didn't go. And it was 7-0 early. And then the half ended with you going 28-9 the other way, including a 10-plus minute scoreless drought for St. Mary's. Now, they play slower and they play lower scoring games, but still, not too many teams get Randy's teams that sideways to where they're not making shots for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm loving this game more and more. I think I love it more and more because we're winning it more frequently. But this matchup is it just has a DNA. This game, you know how, so far in recent history, you know exactly how this BYU St. Mary's game is going to be, what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like, and what you're going to have to fight through to win. And our guys were terrific.
Tell fans what PPP stands for.
Points per possession.
0.67 for St. Mary's against you guys.
Yeah, and St. Mary's is over 1 points per possession team.
Right.
They're not a fast playing team, but they're an efficient team. Randy's teams have always been really efficient, and so it was a great accomplishment by our guys.
Break out a couple player stats from Saturday night. We're going to go to Tijon Lucas and then another shot at Foose. Foose was a point away from another double-double, 9 and 11, and games against St. Mary's.
Foose is pointing at me. You see that picture? He's pointing at me, saying, "Get me the ball."
BYU doesn't end up with a ton of assists usually against St. Mary's. This wasn't a big assist night for Tijon, but he was a leading scorer at 10. That's a modest number, but that's a leading scorer number against St. Mary's. And he just I don't know whether it's you want to say basketball IQ or feel. He's just he looks like a fifth-year guard that's everything you hoped he would be.
He was our leading scorer, and he was also him and Alex were so extraordinary defensively. Tijon had a really, really difficult defensive assignment against one of the best athletes in the WCC, one of the quickest, most difficult guys to keep in front of him, and his ability to recover over and over and over again was really extraordinary. He was great.
Were you talking Logan Johnson?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Logan Johnson is a big time athlete. He gets downhill against everybody, every team in our league, and Tijon just refused to allow him to. It was great.
Tijon led BYU in scoring for the first time since the win at Utah.
Tijon did have a big-time assist, by the way. If you check, I think it's on the post-game interview. They're somewhere on YouTube. So Tijon has been teaching me some more modern, hip lingo. Yes?
You dropped the no cap in the
no cap.
Is that an assist?
I kid you not. So I'm learning about no cap and sheesh, and so there had been a little interchange where the guys were making fun of me because I said no caps and used it in the incorrect context. So after the game, post-game meeting with the team, I told them I was going to go in a press conference. I was going to drop a no cap, and so Tijon was like, "Coach, you need to say exactly this," and so. If you watch the press conference, it's one of my favorite clips of all time So I'm sitting there with Tijon. Tijon does the opening statement. And then there's a couple questions. Someone asked me a question about we're down 7-0 and there's a timeout. And what did I tell the guys in the timeout? And Tijon leans over to me, and you can hear it because the mic picks it up. He's like, Coach, this be a good time to say it. And so sure enough, I dropped a no cap, and like everyone was like, wow, Coach Pope is so hip.
And
it was great.
And the context was something like, I told the guys this was the game, this was what it was going to be, no cap.
Yes, it's going to be a dogfight, no cap.
There you go.
And then, so I'm super grateful for the guys keeping me on the cutting edge of urban terminology.
I took note. All right. Since entering the starting lineup in early December, this guy has been one of the most consistent and productive BYU players, and he's doing it from places other than only his wheelhouse at the three-point line. Tonight, Trevin Knell takes us inside the film room, joined by Jerem Jordan.
So, Trevin, everyone's like, oh, ugly win Saturday. That's only on offense, but the defense only allowed 43. That was beautiful. And beating St. Mary's, always beautiful.
It's always beautiful. St. Mary's is a great team. They're really well coached. They're talented. And this is just, who's tougher. They know us. We know them. So there's no really scheme about it. It's just who's going out. We call it a coach short game because, it's just all about getting bigger and that toughness.
I love that. Okay, let's check out some of your made shots in this one. You're down 7-0 to start, and Alex Barcelo's like, here, please make a shot at the end of the shot clock, right?
Exactly. So right here, I call Caleb for a screen because I see the shot clock's going down, and I use my outlet AB, and AB finds me in a perfect window. I was able to get the shot off as Dukas was trying to contest and made the three.
That was center cut. Did you know that was going in when you released it?
I knew that was going in. That one felt good.
Yeah, and it was contested quite a bit, too.
It was contested. I didn't think it was that contested. Coach Pope just showed me and Alex this clip of Steph Curry. He's like, what do you think about when you shoot? And he says absolutely nothing. And so when I shot that, I was just like, oh, it's going in.
This is your one bucket in the first half. Second half, you make 3 shots. And you go high off the window for this one.
Tijon found me on a transition, and I knew Dukas after I made the 3, he was still thinking about it. So I got him on a little pump fake, and coaches always tell us to go off 2 feet. And I saw Haas try to take a charge, so I just went off the little window.
Why isn't he trying to block that shot? What world do we live in where 6'10" dudes might take a charge?
Because I'm a big body.
I love it. Most guys get into the contact. I don't know why more people don't just shoot that mid-range.
It's true. I think Coach Fear's done a terrific job with us about trying to get better finishes and trying to find that window. And we work on this every single day.
Okay, then the pull-up, TJ Haas style.
Alex again found me right here on the wing. I was calling for it. So I just hit a shot on Dukas, so I was feeling really confident. I came off the 2 dribble pull-up, and Coach Pope has got a ton of confidence in me. And I looked right over to him, and he gave me that look, and I was like, all right, it's go time.
What is it about the last several games that has made you a more productive offensive player?
Just the confidence the players have in me. AB and Tijon are guys that always tell me every single day, hey, we don't care how many shots you miss, just go out there and play, and we trust you. And so at the beginning of the season, I went through a little slump, but every single day, Coach Fear, all the coaches, AB and Tijon were huge about just, hey, let everything go, stop thinking about it, just play your game. And ever since then, I've just been super confident, super comfortable out there on the court.
4:20 left, you get a switch here, and you go on for an and one.
Exactly. I was calling for the ball. Look, I was calling for it. I knew I had the big guy on me, and I just used my speed to my advantage, got him up, and took the contact and got an and one.
A huge week, probably the toughest road swing of the entire season. At Gonzaga, at San Francisco. What will be the key to bringing home a couple of wins this week?
I think the key is transition defense. We just definitely got to continue to pride ourselves on the defensive end. We held St. Mary's to like 43 points, so we got to continue to pursue our defense, and then we got to continue to trust each other and limit our turnovers. And I think if we do that, we have a great shot at winning these 2 games.
Okay, good luck this week.
Thank you.
Different professional leagues often vote a most improved player. And Trevin was already starting at a pretty good spot, but he feels like that guy to me on this year's team because he just does so much more for you.
Yeah, I'm really proud of him because He surprisingly for him wasn't shooting the ball great early in the season and just kind of hung in there and kept working, and now he's a mainstay. He had the biggest offensive possession of the entire game. Well, he had our first points of the game, and that little runner against their backup 5 where he got the N1, we were kind of stuck.
Down to maybe 7 in that game.
They cut it down to 7.
Yeah.
It was starting to feel a little shaky, and he just answered it. It's interesting that three of his possessions there were all making plays downhill off the bounce, which is traditionally what he's been thought of as a spot-up shooter. But he's so effective down. He's been great. He's also one of our best, most consistent guys getting a hit on defensive rebounding, and he's locked in defensively. We've been playing more and more solid defensively. He's doing a great job. And if you heard on this clip, Trevin talked about the confidence he has shooting. Right, he's got more confidence. He's kind of just letting it come and feel it. And Leanne sent me a clip that I played for all the guys on our team that are kind of one by one. Some of the guys that are taking a lot of shots, and I thought this was really fascinating. It was Steph Curry, and the question was, "What do you think about when you're shooting?" And he answered, "Absolutely nothing." And that is a really true thing. That's when you're really feeling confident as a shooter, is when you can kind of block out everything about nothing. And Trevin is spending some time right now in the games shooting shots where he's thinking about absolutely nothing. It's pretty cool.
When does Leanne start showing up in the website staff bio as like consultant?
No, she is like the president of BYU basketball. So She's doing a lot.
All right, let's take a look at how this January schedule is unfolding for you. Certainly so far so good through WCC play at 2-0. Pacific and St. Mary's in the book, and now this back-to-back road swing that starts at Gonzaga Thursday, followed by San Francisco on the weekend.
Tough road trip. So I'm probably not supposed to say this, but we're family, right? So I can tell you everything. So got a call about 2 hours ago. CBS lost their 6 o'clock game, so they wanted to bump us up from 8 o'clock to 6 o'clock at San Francisco. And I was like, no way. We're on the road at Gonzaga. Then we got to fly to San Francisco, play at San Francisco. You're not stealing 2 hours of prep from us.
We'll take as much time as we can.
So we're keeping it 8 p.m. Sorry for you guys who were trying to get to bed early, but
there will be late tips. It'll be a 9 o'clock Mountain Time tips for both games, Gonzaga and San Francisco. The back half of the month we see involves a couple more home games and then back on the road to finish things off. That's how January looks. The most important thing is WW to start the month.
Yep, love it.
Okay. For your day-to-day Cougar Sports play-by-play, watch BYU Sports Nation with Spencer Linton and Jerem Jordan, weekdays noon Eastern on BYUtv and BYU Radio. Joining the show this week, Jay Billis, who will help to call that Thursday game at Gonzaga. He'll be on Thursday, followed by Zach Wilson with the boys on Friday. When we come back, Seneca Knight joins us in Studio C as BYU basketball with Mark Pope continues.
BYU Basketball with Mark Pope is brought to you by Siegfried and Jensen, helping Utah families for over 30 years. And by Intermountain Healthcare, official medical provider for BYU Athletics.
The Rowdy Rock, Saturday night. Welcome back to Studio C here in Provo for BYU Basketball with Mark Pope. Well, since Mark Pope joined BYU's head coach, one of the recruits about whom he's been most excited, actually, was a player that he'd already recruited to another school. That player, Trey Stewart, is the subject of tonight's Deep Blue, brought to you by Brady Industries. Honestly better.
I always liked the name Trey. Playing basketball my whole life, I always felt like I wanted to name my son Trey after the three-point shot.
So Ray, my husband, played overseas and played in college, and so his dad felt strongly about that. We are a basketball family. Basketball has always been a part of our life.
But my fear was if he couldn't shoot, we were going to name him Doyce. So I'm glad that he can shoot, so we stuck with Trey.
Okay. Basketball is always kind of an escape for me. Like, regardless of how my mental health is doing, I can always count on going to basketball practice and just, yeah, I may be mad at basketball, but it's like I'm in my own world. It's like I can
just release, leave everything at the door, go in, train my heart out. And like the harder I work, the more I forget, which is nice because it just is such a relief for me. So I never really questioned, like, obviously that 9th grade, it was just like a battle of like, man, like this is rough. Like, do I keep going if I'm this bad?
Trey's freshman year, he sat on the bench and didn't play hardly at all. And that's a tough place to be in for a kid. And so I think that was a low point. That was hard for him.
When he was losing, I felt like those hard times that he had in high school, that made him the man he is today.
I remember the coach coming up to me after a game and saying, "Oh, I forgot to play your son." And I thought, uh-oh, this is not good. But Ray, as being a coach, has always said, well, you got to work harder. You got to be better. That's the only way you're going to play. And I think Trey took that as fuel and absolutely worked harder, and then started varsity as a sophomore.
He had to go through that in order to see, okay, that's the way it was, but if I continue to work hard and grind, this is what I can achieve.
You're in the same situation now, Trey. This is freshman year. Next year, hey, then it'll just... Yep, you do it all over again. But it is good, though. That's good practice for life. Yeah, life.
To me, it's just like this dark cloud. Like, there's not a lot of words to describe it besides just like loneliness and just wanting everything to end. Depression, like I still deal with that today. It kind of stems from that 9th grade year where I wasn't doing that good at basketball, so I really isolated myself.
We are champions of therapy and whatever someone needs to address those issues. So I think that's been really good for Trey, and Trey's always been very open. A
common thing in sports is just push it under the rug, like be a man, take the next step, continue forward. Being able to share my experiences, hopefully it helps other people understand that like it's normal, like people are like that, and that's just like the card you're dealt.
I think he's just always had a sensitivity to mental health issues and just feels strongly that you can change your mindset if you'd like to, and I think he's always been one to put motivational sayings on mirrors and around to help him to get in a good mind space. He's always been very goal-oriented, and so I think default happiness is kind of a natural part of his personality to help people and to create awareness for mental health and to help people be happy.
I've just always loved being creative. Like I learned to sew a few years ago, and that was an escape for me, like just random little things that I like to do.
He's got a little bit of sewing and like home ec vibe. So now he's doing these unbelievable deals on shoes where he can print out any type of little imaging that he wants, and he's putting it on guys' shoes.
I call it Default Happiness, like that's the name of my shoe company brand. And it just kind of stems from things called trigger words.
I think it's important to say that default happiness doesn't mean you put on a smile and pretend there aren't any issues, but that you can turn your situation around and find joy in life so that your default is to be happy. You know, we're here to be happy.
It's just who he is. You know, this is just one slice of 1,000 different things that he's gonna do that are really special and super swag.
Because most athletes, you know, you see him on the court, you know, after the game, like, oh, that guy's a great guy. Seems like a great guy. But then you'll hear some other stories rumbling around that, ooh, that guy off the court, he's doing some things that he shouldn't be doing. Not him. What you see is what you get. And that's the sign of a good man, that he doesn't change who he is. It doesn't matter who he's around. He's gonna be himself.
So what do you think is in store for Trey Stewart?
Yeah, I think he's got great things ahead for him. He's already doing great things. I mean, you think about this young man, he's taking on all the responsibilities a freshman athlete at BYU has to take on, and he's running his own company, this Default Happiness, where it's almost like the demand is too big. He's got to start hiring people. In fact, if anybody wants to jump on and start working, I don't know, he's paying $10 an hour. And he's also in a bunch of leadership positions on campus. He's actually in a very, very exclusive high administration level. He's one of 2 students on campus that are representing kind of all the student body on campus, and he's in the SAC, and he just is. This is a big-time young man. He's going to be a great basketball player here at BYU.
Yeah, from an on-the-floor perspective, what do you envision his progression looking like?
Well, he's already an elite level defender, just an inexperienced elite level defender. He's incredibly athletic. I think, I can't remember what game it was, 2 or 3 games ago. He actually, it was probably the show-stopping moment of the whole game. He got in the game and just grabbed a rebound, and everyone was like, oh, it was remarkable. Yeah. I don't know if it was in the Pacific maybe, yeah. He's an elite level athlete with a $1 million smile, and he's going to be a terrific basketball player, off the bounce, getting downhill and making plays, and he's going to be special.
All right, let's get to our player guest tonight. No stranger to basketball on the West Coast or in the Mountain Time Zone, starring as a standout for San Jose State before returning close to a home for a time, only to head back west and join the BYU basketball program. Please welcome into Studio C, Seneca Knight.
Thank you for having me. Yes, sir.
Come on.
Sir, Coach.
Welcome in.
Thank y'all for having me.
It's good to have you here. New Orleans is home.
Yes, sir.
New Orleans, Louisiana. You didn't play your high school there. You played in Lafayette.
Yes, sir.
Right? And Mark Pope probably already knew this. Maybe our fans in the stands and viewers don't. When you were a high school senior, you led the state of Louisiana in scoring?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
I did.
I mean, that's who he is, right, Coach Pope?
Yes, he's got a lot of that in him. And we're starting to see it more and more. It's pretty exciting.
So your dad, well, we should note that you are a Seneca Jr.
The second.
Yeah, a Seneca the second,
yes,
meaning
sir.
your dad's also a Seneca.
Right.
Your dad was an athlete.
We don't do junior.
You don't do junior.
We do the second.
Second, yes, sir.
The deuce, yes?
The deuce.
See, Trey's dad didn't want to call him Deuce, right?
Right.
But we're all about that right now.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a bit more about your dad, what he played and where he played. And
So he grew up in Alabama, and he ended up playing under the great coach Eddie Robinson at Grambling University. Wow. He was one of the top players coming out of high school for football. So, yeah, I got a lot of athleticism from him.
Yeah, well, Eddie Robinson, that's a legendary name.
Legend of all legends. It's
right?
very cool.
So your dad was a football player. Back to your high school days for a second. You once had a game where you hit 8 straight threes?
Yeah. Yes,
so AB here at BYU, he's got the record. He once went 7 for 7 straight without a miss, and you were knocking down 8 in a row one time in high school.
Yes, sir. Sometimes you just get in that rhythm and then, just rock out.
I guess so. Recruiting process, what brought you west?
So I heard from BYU back in January when I was transferring, but I was
first time to San Jose.
Oh, the first time?
Yeah.
That was my only offer. I didn't have any other choice.
No kidding.
No, for
San
real.
Jose State was your only Division I offer?
Only Division I offer.
As the state's leading scorer. Were you surprised that more schools weren't into you, or how did you view that at that time? Was it hard for you, or were you okay with it?
It was frustrating, but a lot of late night talks with my dad in the gym and everything, and, the only thing you do is work. There's not much else to go around it. Some people may get the upper hand early, however the cards play out, but, you just got to keep working. If you want to make something happen, you do whatever to do it.
Bay Area is a long ways away from New Orleans.
Yes, sir.
What did it take to actually travel that far and go play away from home?
Well, it wasn't really that much of a big thing for me to travel that far from home. My parents raised me to be able to be independent and self-sufficient. So going out there, I wanted to play basketball, and if that was the way for me to play basketball on D1 level, I just had to do it.
When did you first become aware of the name Seneca Knight, Coach Pope?
Man, I actually didn't know Seneca until this summer, kind of when he jumped in the portal. And then we got to know him really, really well, really, really fast, trying to convince him to come out here. And then we were super surprised to learn that his whole lifetime he had grown up dreaming of one day playing at BYU.
Yeah.
Remember watching Jimmer?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
No, that's not true. I'll make it. That's totally not true. But, what's great about Seneca and his mom and dad are so fantastic. His mom actually worked in athletics for a long time. Actually spent some time in athletics compliance, so she was making sure that we were doing everything exactly right. But they're both so unbelievably supportive and such great mentors, and understand the the pressures and responsibilities on athletes. And so it was easy to get to know him really fast. It was really great.
So BYU fans and Coach Pope, where you were at UVU and BYU, we all know about the name Sam Merrill. Sam was a great player for Utah State, obviously. And Seneca, as a sophomore at San Jose State, outscored in league play Sam Merrill, the senior, at Utah State.
Yes,
Sam was a scorer.
No, he was.
Yeah, and for you to actually end up a little higher than him in league play is something to do as a sophomore. Your second year at San Jose saw you just kind of, explode a little bit maybe as a scorer. Can you take us through that year a little bit and how it kind of progressed for you?
So that year was actually pretty different than, normal college years. I had fractured my finger that summer, so I wasn't able to work out that whole summer. And, towards the end of the summer, I was able to start lifting at least. So we started lifting, and, one thing from freshman year to sophomore year, a lot of people learn is you have to get stronger. So just doing that, and then once I got back out to school, just lived in the gym. So after practice, get shots up. Before practice, get shots up. And I stayed in the gym, and then I just always tried to learn. So even when we played Sam Merrill the first time, I asked him, things that I could do to get better and talk to him. So being able to, use those connections and be able to learn from people who've been through it and just using that to my advantage.
So after a great second year at San Jose, why'd you make the decision to head home for a while?
Honestly, it was just because of COVID. COVID shut down California completely, and it was no gyms to get in, nowhere to get better. And coming off my sophomore year, it would have been a struggle trying to, top that without any gym access. So decided to go back home, also family reasons. If anything happened, I'm right up the street.
It was LSU, right?
LSU, yes, sir.
Yeah. And then LSU from there to here. Coach Pope gets involved. How did that all turn out?
It turned out great. So leaving from LSU, because you may understand that it wasn't really a first choice. But talking to the coaches, they reached out back in January. I heard from Coach Cody. And then Coach Nick reached out back in June. So when he reached out in June, I was like, okay, let me hear BYU out. So once I did that and then took my visit, just fell in love with the place, canceled my other visit, and just decided to come here.
Can you recollect what it was like to bring him on campus?
I just remember being so grateful that he was coming. We were actually all crisscrossing all over the place, and so Sen was here on his visit, and we had the thing I remember the most is we had a great breakfast where we kind of talked through all the tough things about being here at BYU, and that this journey would be incredibly rewarding, but not easy, and Seneca Sr. was like, good, I don't want easy for my son.
Yes, sir.
Which was the greatest thing you could ever hear as a coach. And then it was just a good fit. And what's been really fun is just, is we're learning each other right now. We're all watching Seneca kind of just grow and grow, and me understand how to use him better, and him understand how to fit in here better. And he brings something that we haven't had before. Interestingly, with the St. Mary's game that we just played, we talked about this a lot. So Seneca and I have been talking about this for a month probably.
Yes, sir.
It's just the St. Mary's team is so different, and there's just unique pieces. There's unique basketball players that you just look at the St. Mary's game, which we've got to know so well. They force you to play in isolation. They force you to be big and physical and skilled. And Seneca's a different skill set player than we've had in my tenure for his size and strength and athleticism. And so I've been telling Seneca for a month, man, I'm telling you, the St. Mary's game's coming up, and you're going to be the difference maker. Sure enough, I mean, he was. First half, second half of the first half, his ability to get down to the hole and make buckets, and then everything he did on the offensive and defensive end. And he's going to be he's just got a unique skill set that, as we learn how to incorporate it better and better, it's going to be really special. It's been awesome. It's been really fun.
Stick around. We're going to have Q&A for you and the coach coming up, so we'll have that next, all right? Don't go anywhere. All right, we come back, we will have question and answer session for Coach Pope and Seneca Knight as we continue on BYU Basketball with Mark Pope. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to BYU Basketball with Mark Pope, presented by Siegfried and Jensen. We've got Seneca Knight joining us in Studio C. Time for some Q&A. First question, though, comes from me. Seneca, could you sum up your season to this point? You're playing for a 14-win team, a top 10 national attendance team, a 2-0 WCC team. What's it been like first year at BYU?
It's been really, I'll say in 2 words, enjoyable experience. So it's been a lot of ups and downs, but enjoying the process throughout, and then being able to play with a bunch of great guys, with a great coaching staff, it's just been, we just have fun. Joy in the gym is what we live by.
You have a lot of mantras, and they're kind of in a word wall of sorts, if you will. Enjoyable experience might end up there,
That's pretty good. It's touched on a couple of different things.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. All right. Let's get some questions from social media. This one's for the coach. Coach, with all the game cancellations, has the WCC made any provisions to ensure that the top teams still play each other?
Yes. So they actually came out with some guidelines yesterday, actually. And so I think everything's in a good spot. That's what I think. There is some flexibility built in. I think all, the teams that are rated in the top half of the conference, I think we're all committed to getting 2 games together with each other. So, because it's good for all of us. It actually helps all of us. So I think we're in a good spot right now.
Mark Few ended up saying the same thing after the Pepperdine game. He says, I hope our league tries to give the teams that have the best chance to go to the tournament the best chance to go by how they reschedule things.
And it's really interesting. So right now the provisions are, it's some specific things. I'm not sure how specific I'm allowed to get.
Right.
But they actually made some specifications about when you can actually call a COVID game or not. Because I think it's been a little bit up there, like, hey, let's call it a COVID game. But now I think there's some specific guidelines. And there's also specific guidelines with rescheduling to give us some more flexibility, which we're super excited about.
Second question, our man Hema is a question for Seneca. Seneca, he says, I've seen your fried Oreos on TikTok. What other culinary masterpieces do you like to make?
That's a good question. For myself, I like cooking spaghetti. I feel like I got the best quesadillas, by the way. So if anybody wants quesadillas, just let me know. But some other things, I made like my own McGriddle one time in the air fryer, and that was like super fun. So just really anything that I just come across and be like, hey, I feel like I make that. And then I just do it.
Here's the deal. We need to bring you back on a show. You need to bring fried Oreos for everybody. Can we make that happen?
I'll be down to do that.
Fried Oreos for everybody. We got to do it in a couple shows sometime. Let's book it. Hema! Let's go, baby. Fried Oreos, the whole crowd. I like it. Let's go.
Next social media question. Harrison, it's another food question. Sorry. For Coach Pope and Seneca, favorite Cajun foods? Do you like Cajun foods?
I love Cajun food.
Okay, so favorite Cajun foods, you and then Coach.
It's this place around the corner from my grandma's house, and it sells like shrimp, crawfish, like the potatoes. So I love going there and get the seafood and just go eat by the river with my friends or family.
Right on.
So something simple.
So my favorite Cajun food is, I don't even know if this is legal, but it's not even close. It's beignets. I don't know if that qualifies.
I don't think it qualifies, but
I don't know if that qualifies in Cajun. But like, how could you not say a beignet? Because you say fried Oreos.
Fried Oreos.
So I was in Shreveport a month ago, and it's not southern Louisiana, but it's still Louisiana.
Yeah.
And I was ODing on the gumbo on the whole trip out there, so I do love it.
Yes,
all right, Hema's brother Houston, new football grad transfer Houston Haywoody, question for Seneca. Seneca, do you watch anime? And if so, what's your favorite one? And also, how was your experience going from the Bay Area to Provo, Utah?
Okay, so the anime one first. I love watching anime. I'm not gonna lie. My favorite one would be Naruto, and if anybody want to know, Sasuke, my favorite character. So, and then the Bay Area.
I don't understand anything you just said. I feel like you just said no cap, and I'm like, what does that mean?
People who know.
Transitioning life from the Bay Area. I know you had the LSU in between, but from Bay Area to Provo.
Bay Area to Provo, they both offer like great, like amazing things to do. So out here is more outdoorsy, and in the Bay Area is more like adventurous. So like with the weather being perfect pretty much year round, and being able to be close to like San Francisco and Oakland is just like taking those adventures like really a joy.
Okay, back on the anime thing for a second. There's a former BYU guy that probably is like most known for loving anime, football guy, but Jamal Williams. Jamal has a lot of anime content on his social media. Do you know Jamal at all? You ever met him?
I never met him.
Jamal Williams playing for Green Bay now?
Detroit now.
Detroit. He was just against Green Bay.
Yeah,
that's right.
But he's a big-time anime guy. It's a lot of his social media. Check
Superstar. He was a great player.
Excellent.
Good dude. I'm going to look into it.
All right, coming up next, we will preview a monster matchup at Gonzaga when BYU basketball. Mark Pope continues. Stay with us.
BYU Basketball with Mark Pope is brought to you by Siegfried and Jensen, helping Utah families for over 30 years. Smith's, fresh for everyone. And by Cascade Collision Repair, serious about perfection.
All right, we are back on BYU basketball with Mark Pope. Game day schedule for Gonzaga this Thursday night. BYU Gonzaga late night. Pregame on the radio will be at 10 o'clock Eastern time and 8 o'clock Mountain. And then the tip-off itself, 11 o'clock Eastern time, 9 o'clock Mountain, 8 o'clock at the Kennel. We'll have radio coverage for you with Coach Pope and a player right after the game on BYU Radio. We'll be up there in Spokane. Well, Gonzaga does come in as the nation's number 2 ranked team. Zags have won 9 of the last 10 in this series, including the last 3, BYU playing for its first win in Spokane since 2017. Before we get to more about the Zags, Seneca, your Twitter handle. You're on Twitter. You like social media. What's your Twitter handle we can share with the audience?
@Sen_13_.
There you see it on your screen right there. So if nothing else, we hope that Seneca comes out of tonight with a couple more followers.
There is some controversy on the team, but for my money, Sen might be the best Twitter follow on the entire team, yes?
I'll say so. We got the best fans, and they helped me do that. I couldn't do it by myself.
All right, give them a follow. More about the Zags now, Coach. This is a team that kind of reloads year to year. They can lose guys to the pros, bring a few more pros in. They've got it going right now as they have for a while.
They're good.
That's all you need to say about it.
They're really good. I was watching film. We watch film of every game of every team, and so we were reviewing film 2 days ago, and they were playing Pepperdine, where they scored 117 points against Pepperdine, which is more than St. Mary's and us scored combined, by the way. And there's a graphic, and so I went back and rewound it so I could listen to the sound. There was a graphic of 5 games, and it was the 5 games that Drew Timme has lost in his first 3.5 years at Gonzaga. It's super impressive. Of course, BYU gets to claim one of those, but there haven't been many, and so they're the best program in the country. They've been the best program in the country probably for the last decade, and they've been the number 1 ranked team for the longest time over the course of the last 4 or 5 years. And so we get a chance to go in there, Jim, and take a shot at taking on the best team in America.
Well, since BYU joined the WCC, BYU has more wins in Spokane than every other WCC team combined. So there's that. So we're going to do it again.
We might have more wins in Spokane. I'm actually sure we have more wins in Spokane than any other team in the country. Actually, it's got to be true, right?
Well, we want to
get
go
more
back.
shots.
We want to go back to probably the pre-2011-12, maybe St. Mary's days.
Yep.
Maybe St. Mary's got a couple there.
Yep.
And back before Gonzaga was really Gonzaga, but certainly since you joined the league, no one's done it more than BYU.
Leave it to Greg to have to be accurate.
No. But let's just say, but since you joined the league, no one's done it more than you
Fair
guys.
enough.
That's very, very
Fair
true.
enough.
All right, San Francisco on Saturday. Gonzaga Thursday, San Francisco Saturday. The Dons are a 14-win team.
They're really good. It's so fun. Like, you think about it. We're in league, and we're playing back-to-back-to-back top 30, top 40 ranked teams in the country. Right? This is like everyone's so excited about the Big 12. Well, welcome to what the Big 12 is going to feel like, guys. We're playing number 33, and then we're playing number 2 or 3, and then we're playing number 30, right? And so it's pretty awesome. And this is a great San Francisco team. They're doing a great job. They're a veteran team. I don't know if they're the oldest team in the country, but they might be close. And they've been together for a long time. They have a backcourt that's really terrific. It's been together for at least 3 or 4 years. And so it's an incredible road trip, man. It's going to really test us. This will be our biggest kind of back-to-back test we will have all season long.
USF opened up on a nice long undefeated streak to start the year. Coming into tonight, by the way, or coming into today, there were 2 last undefeated teams. USC lost to Stanford today, and Baylor's just lost tonight as well. There are no more undefeated teams in college basketball.
It's hard. You think about USC. Stanford is a traditionally good program that's struggled a little bit in the last few years, and USC is I don't know, they're top 10 team, top 12 team,
yep.
And it's just hard to win. It's always hard to win, and that's what you learn with experience. Is you start to respect this game so much, you understand every single game you play is going to be hard to win.
Big 12 basketball, Texas Tech 65, Baylor 62 tonight. As we go to break, here is this week's trivia question presented by Cascade Collision Repair. Serious about perfection. Who was BYU's scoring leader in its first season as a WCC member in 2011-12? The answer after this. Trivia, Cascade Collision Repair, serious about perfection. Mark Pope's first year on the staff was 2011-12, and your leading scorer that year, Coach, was?
It was Noah Hartsock. Of course it was. Noah. Did I say that live? Did I say live? I thought it was either Tyler or
That was just for the fans here in the.
Oh, well, I just said it live now. Noah, I am so sorry. Of course it was Noah Hartsock.
Of course it was Noah Hartsock. All right, as we leave, we got 40 seconds left. We're going to do a quick little what happened here at the very end. So this was Saturday night's basketball game. And, oh, look, we actually had a live version of Where's Waldo going. So, Seneca, the question for you is, are you down with Where's Waldo? Is that too old or too young for you or whatever it is? Does that make it? Do you have any recollection of Where's Waldo?
I have recollection of it.
Okay.
Me and my cousin used to do puzzles like on a Saturday.
Okay, good. At least it means something to you. So that's what we did. We found that guy on Saturday night. Good stuff.
That's crazy.
Hey, thank you for coming in tonight, by the way.
Thank you.
Have a great game. Great games this weekend, Coach. We'll see you there.
Thank you. Let's go.
All right.
Seneca Knight.
I'm Greg Wrubell. Have a great week.